The moment her arms wrapped around my legs and she said, "Daddy," my entire life froze. I was standing on Fifth Avenue, right outside the Kane Tower, my building, my empire. 43 stories of steel and glass with my name on top. I just stepped out of my Bentley, phone pressed to my ear, closing a $2 billion merger with Tokyo investors. Then this little girl came out of nowhere. She couldn't have been more than 6 years old. Dark curly hair, bright green eyes, wearing a pink jacket that had seen better days. She ran straight at me through the morning crowd, dodging businessmen and tourists, and threw her arms around my legs like I was the only person in the world. "Daddy!" she cried out, her voice pure joy. "I found you!" I stopped mid-sentence. The investors on the phone kept talking, their voices suddenly meaningless noise in my ear. Every person on that sidewalk turned to stare. "Hold on," I said into the phone, then looked down at this child clinging to me. "Hey, sweetheart, I think you've got the wrong person." She looked up at me with those enormous eyes, and she was smiling like Christmas morning. "No, I don't. You're my daddy. Mommy showed me your picture." My heart started hammering. "What?" "You're Ethan Kane. You were born on March 15th. You're 34 years old, and you're my daddy." The phones came out. I saw at least 5 people filming us. A woman in a business suit had her camera pointed right at my face. "Listen," I said, trying to keep my voice gentle while my brain screamed at me to run. "I don't have any children. You must be confusing me with someone else." "No." She squeezed tighter. "Mommy said you had to go away, but that you'd come back. And now you're back." My head of security, Marcus, appeared at my elbow. "Mr. Kane, should I?" "Don't," I said quickly, because the crowd was growing and people were muttering, and this looked exactly like what it wasn't. A deadbeat billionaire rejecting his kid on a public street. "Sir, we need to move you inside. I'm not leaving her out here alone." The words came out before I could think them through. "Where's your mother, sweetheart?" "She's at work. She works 2 jobs, so we can eat." The little girl said it so matter-of-factly, like poverty was just weather. "But today's my birthday and I wanted to see you, so I took the subway by myself." Jesus Christ. She was 6 years old and she'd taken the subway alone to find me. "What's your name?" I asked, crouching down to her level. "Lily. Lily Carter." She beamed at me. "Do you like my name? Mommy said you liked flowers." Carter. The name hit me like a punch to the gut. Sarah Carter. I hadn't heard that name in 7 years. "Your mother's name is Sarah?" "Yes, you remember." Lily clapped her hands. "See? I told you he'd remember. Mommy always says you wouldn't." The crowd pressed closer. Someone shouted a question about child support. A reporter I recognized from CNN was pushing through the crowd with a cameraman. "Marcus, get us inside. Now." "Mr. Kane, I really don't think." "She's 6, and she's alone on a New York street. We're not leaving her here." I looked at Lily. "Sweetheart, will you come with me while we find your mom?" She nodded enthusiastically and took my hand like it was the most natural thing in the world. We hurried into the lobby of Kane Tower, Marcus clearing a path, the crowd shouting questions behind us. Lily kept chattering the whole way. "Your building is so tall. Do you really work at the very top? Can I see? Mommy said you build things. Do you build with Legos? I love Legos. I built a castle last week, but the tower fell down." The elevator doors closed on the chaos outside. And suddenly it was just me, Marcus, and this little girl who thought I was her father. I pulled out my phone and called my assistant. "Jennifer, cancel everything today. Everything. And I need you to find a Sarah Carter in New York, probably Brooklyn or Queens. She has a 6-year-old daughter." "Mr. Kane, you have the board meeting at noon, and the fun. Cancel it all." I hung up and looked at Lily, who was staring around the elevator with wonder. Is this real gold? She touched the walls. Gold-plated brass. What's plated mean? It means it looks expensive, but it's actually just covering something normal underneath. She looked at me very seriously. That's sad. Out of the mouths of children. Yeah, I said. I guess it is. If you think this is just a misunderstanding, hit subscribe, because what comes next proves that sometimes the universe has a way of making you face exactly what you've been running from. My office occupied the entire 43rd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Manhattan. Conference table that seated 20. Art worth more than most people's houses. Lily walked in like she owned the place. Wow. She spun in a circle. You can see the whole world from here. Not quite the whole world. I sat down heavily in my desk chair. Lily, I need you to tell me the truth, okay? Who told you I was your father? Mommy did. Well, kind of. She climbed onto the leather couch, her feet dangling. She has pictures of you. Old pictures from when she was young, and she cries sometimes when she looks at them. My chest tightened. What else did she say about me? She said you were really smart and really busy and that you had important work to do. She said that's why you couldn't stay. Lily swung her legs. But I knew if I found you, you'd want to stay. Because I'm important too, right? God, this kid was killing me. Yes, you're very important. So you'll come home with me? It's not that simple, sweetheart. Why not? You're my daddy. Daddy's come home. I had no idea what to say to that. I'd spent 15 years building an empire, crushing competitors, making impossible deals happen. But I had no defense against the simple logic of a 6-year-old. Jennifer appeared in the doorway. Mr. Kane, I found Sarah Carter. She's a nurse at Mount Sinai. I have her work number and... She stopped, staring at Lily. Oh my God. She looks just like your mother. I'd been trying not to notice that, but Jennifer was right. Lily had my mother's eyes, my mother's smile. My mother who died when I was 15, leaving me in the foster system. Get Sarah on the phone, I said quietly. Tell her I have her daughter, and she's safe. Already did. She's on her way. She sounded upset. I bet she did. Jennifer left. Lily had found a Rubik's Cube on my shelf and was attempting to solve it. These are hard, she announced. Yeah, they are. Can you do it? Used to. Haven't tried in years. Why not? I guess I forgot how to play. She looked at me with something like pity. That's really sad, Daddy. Lily, you need to stop calling me that. Why? You don't like it? It's not about liking it. It's about... I trailed off because I didn't know how to explain adult complications to a child. I'm not sure I'm actually your father. But you are. I know you are. She said it with such absolute certainty. I feel it right here. She put her hand over her heart. Before I could respond, my office door slammed open so hard it hit the wall. Sarah Carter stood there, and 7 years vanished in an instant. She looked the same. Older, more tired, but the same. Auburn hair pulled back in a ponytail. Those blue eyes that used to make me forget my own name. She wore scrubs and sneakers, and had probably run the whole way from the hospital. Lily! She rushed past me like I didn't exist and grabbed her daughter. Oh my God, baby! Are you okay? You can't just leave school like that. You scared me half to death. I'm fine, Mommy. Look, I found Daddy. Sarah's whole body went rigid. She looked at me over Lily's head, and the expression on her face was pure hatred. Lily, sweetie, go wait outside with the nice lady, okay? Mommy needs to talk to Mr. Kane. But, now, Lily. Something in Sarah's voice made Lily obey. Jennifer appeared to escort her out, shooting me a worried look. The door closed. For a moment, neither of us moved. Sarah, don't. She held up her hand. Don't say my name like we're old friends catching up. I wasn't going to. She took the subway alone to find you. A 6-year-old, Ethan, because I made the mistake of having your picture where she could find it. Because she asked about her father and I was weak, and I told her stories. Is she mine? The question burst out of me. Sarah's laugh was bitter. Now you care? Just tell me the truth, please. She stared at me, and I watched her struggle with herself. Finally, she said, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? I mean, exactly that. I don't know. Sarah wrapped her arms around herself. When I found out I was pregnant, you were already gone. You'd made it very clear that I didn't fit into your big, important future, so I decided not to tell you. But if there's even a chance, there's also a chance she's not. I was in a relationship right after you. It ended badly. The timing. She shook her head. I never tested because it didn't matter. You were gone either way. I felt like the floor had dropped out from under me. How could it not matter? Because I decided to raise her alone regardless. Because men like you don't want complications, Ethan. You made that very clear when you told me your company came first. The memory came back sharp and painful. We'd been 27, standing in her tiny apartment in Brooklyn. She'd asked me to stay for dinner. I'd said I couldn't. I had investor meetings. Just dinner, she'd said. One dinner. We've barely seen each other in weeks. I'm building something, Sarah. Once the company is stable, there'll be time. There's never time. You're always building something. When do I get to be something you're building toward? That's not fair. No, she'd said, tears in her eyes. What's not fair is loving someone who loves his ambition more than he could ever love me. I'd walked out that night and never called her again. Told myself it was better to make a clean break, that she'd find someone who could give her the time and attention she deserved. I'd never asked if I was the one who deserved her. I was 27 and terrified, I said now, my voice rough. I grew up in foster care, Sarah. I had nothing. Building that company was the only thing I knew how to do. And I was supposed to what? Wait around while you figured out if I was worth your time? No. You were supposed to tell me if you were pregnant. Why? So you could resent me? Resent her? So you could stay out of obligation instead of love? Sarah's voice broke. I watched my parents' marriage fall apart because of obligation. I wasn't doing that to my daughter. Our daughter. Maybe. You don't actually know. Fine. You want to know? We'll do a DNA test. She pulled out her phone. I'll set it up right now, and when it comes back negative, you can go back to your empire and forget this ever happened. And if it comes back positive? Sarah looked at me with exhausted eyes. Then I guess we figure out how to explain to Lily that her father is a stranger who couldn't be bothered to find out if she existed until she literally hunted him down. That hurt because it was true. I want the test, I said. Whatever it says, I want to know. Fine. There's a clinic in Midtown that does same-day appointments. I'll text you the address. She headed for the door, then turned back. And Ethan? Stay away from Lily until we know for sure. I won't have her getting attached to someone who might disappear. I'm not going to disappear. I'm not going to disappear. You already did once. That's one more time than most fathers. She walked out, taking Lily with her. I stood alone in my massive office, surrounded by all the symbols of success I'd spent years accumulating, and felt emptier than I'd ever felt in my entire life. The DNA test took 3 days to process. 3 days that felt like 3 years. I tried to work, couldn't focus, tried to sleep, kept seeing Lily's face, the absolute certainty in her eyes when she'd said, "You're my daddy." What if she was right? What if I'd had a daughter for 6 years and never known? What if she wasn't mine? Would that be better? Easier? On the second day, I did something I'd never done before. I looked up Sarah's address and drove to Brooklyn. Not to knock on the door, I wasn't stupid enough to think that would go well. Just to see where they lived. The building was old, probably pre-war. Not terrible, not dangerous, but definitely not nice. I watched Sarah come home from her shift at the hospital, Lily bouncing beside her. Even from my car, I could hear Lily chattering away. They disappeared inside. And I sat there for another hour like a creep, wondering what their apartment looked like, wondering if there was enough heat, enough food, enough of everything, wondering why Sarah had never asked me for money if things were this tight. Pride, probably. The same pride that made her face me in my office with her head high, even though her scrubs were wrinkled from a double shift. I called my lawyer that night. I need you to set up a trust. For what purpose? For a child who might be mine. $2 million. Set it up so the mother can't refuse it, and I can't reclaim it. It goes to the kid no matter what the DNA test says. Mr. Kane, I'd advise waiting for confirmation before. I'm not asking for advice. Just do it. He did it. I felt slightly better. Still couldn't sleep. On the third day, the clinic called. Mr. Kane, your results are ready. You can pick them up in person, or we can email them securely. I'll pick them up. The envelope felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. I sat in my car in the clinic parking lot, staring at it. Inside was either the answer to a question I'd never thought to ask, or proof that the last 3 days of emotional chaos had been for nothing. I opened it. The words swam in front of my eyes at first. Medical jargon, percentages, probability analysis. Then I found the line that mattered. Asterisk. Probability of paternity. 99.99. 7% asterisk. The paper shook in my hands. She's mine. Lily is mine. I have a daughter. I sat there in that parking lot and cried for the first time since my mother died. Cried for the 6 years I'd missed, for her first steps and first words and first day of school, for every moment Sarah had faced alone because I'd been too much of a coward to stay. Finally, I started the car. I drove to Sarah's building, this time walking straight to the door, found her apartment number and knocked. Sarah opened the door, saw my face, and knew immediately. It's positive, I said. She closed her eyes. Okay, can I see her? She's sleeping. I won't wake her up. Please, Sarah. I just need to see her. She looked like she wanted to refuse. But something in my expression must have convinced her, because she stepped aside and let me in. The apartment was small but immaculate. Second-hand furniture arranged with care. Lily's drawings covering the fridge. A bookshelf overflowing with children's books. Sarah led me to a tiny bedroom. Lily was curled up under a worn quilt, a stuffed elephant clutched to her chest. In sleep, she looked even more like my mother. My throat closed up. She's perfect, I whispered. I know. Sarah, not here. She's a light sleeper. Sarah led me back to the living room and closed the bedroom door. So, now what? Now I step up. I want to be part of her life. Part of her life how? Weekend visits? Holidays? When it's convenient for you? However she needs me to be. Sarah laughed without humor. You don't get to show up now and play hero, Ethan. You can't just throw money at this and make it okay. I'm not trying to. Yes, you are. That's what you do. You see a problem and you write a check. But Lily isn't a problem to solve. She's a little girl who's been asking about her father for 3 years. A little girl I had to lie to because I didn't know how to explain that her father didn't know she existed. You could have told me. You made it very clear what your priorities were. I was 27 and stupid. You think I'd have walked away if I'd known? Yes, Sarah shouted, then immediately lowered her voice. Yes, I do. Because you walked away anyway. Because your company, your empire, your legacy, those things mattered more than I did. Why would a baby have changed that? Because she's my daughter. So what? You want a medal for biology? Being a father is more than DNA, Ethan. It's showing up. It's being there when she's sick at 3 a.m. It's attending school plays and helping with homework and kissing scraped knees. Can you honestly tell me you're ready to do that? To put her first, above everything else? I opened my mouth to say yes automatically, then stopped, because the honest answer was I didn't know. I didn't know what being a father looked like. I'd never had one. I don't know, I admitted. But I want to try. I want to learn. And I know I've already missed 6 years, Sarah, but I'm begging you not to make me miss any more. She stared at me, and I saw her trying to decide if I was sincere or if this was just guilt-talking. You hurt her, and I'll destroy you, Sarah said finally. I don't care how rich or powerful you are. You break my daughter's heart, and I will dedicate my life to making you regret it. I understand. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it because Lily deserves a father, and because it's not my right to keep you from her now that I know you want to be there. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. Being a parent isn't some part-time hobby you pick up, Ethan. Either you're all in, or you're out. There's no middle ground. I'm all in. We'll see. Sarah moved to the door, a clear dismissal. Come back Sunday afternoon. I'll tell Lily you want to spend time with her. We'll start slow. Okay. Sunday. I hesitated. Sarah? Thank you. For raising her. For being strong enough to do it alone. I didn't do it alone. I had help. Friends. My sister. Lily's teacher who stayed late when I had to work. We managed. She opened the door. And Ethan? Don't make promises to her you can't keep. She's already had too many disappointments in her short life. The door closed in my face. I stood there in the dingy hallway and realized that earning my daughter's trust was going to be harder than any business deal I'd ever closed. Good. Nothing worth having ever came easy. If you're still watching this, subscribe right now, because the hardest part is still ahead, and you won't believe what happens when this billionaire finally learns what really matters. Sunday afternoon, I stood outside Sarah's apartment with my palms sweating like a teenager on a first date. I'd spent 2 hours picking out what to wear, ended up in jeans and a sweater because the suit felt too formal, too much like armor. Sarah opened the door. You came. Of course I came. Ethan showed up when he said he would mark it on the calendar, but her voice was less hostile than before. Tired, maybe. Resigned. Lily appeared behind her and lit up like I'd brought Christmas. Daddy, Mommy said you were coming. That word daddy? It still hit me like electricity. Hey, kiddo. I crouched down. Your mom said maybe we could hang out for a bit, if you want to. Yes. Can we go to the park? And get ice cream? And go on the swings? Sarah put a hand on her shoulder. Lily, remember what we talked about? Ethan is still getting to know you. We're starting slow. What's slow mean? It means maybe just the park today, I said. We can save ice cream for next time. There's gonna be a next time? Lily's eyes went wide with hope. Yeah, if that's okay with you. She threw her arms around my neck so hard I almost fell backward. It's really, really, really okay. Over her head, I caught Sarah watching us. Her expression was complicated, protective, sad, cautiously hopeful. 2 hours, Sarah said. And stay in Prospect Park where I can reach you. 2 hours. Got it. Lily took my hand like we'd been doing this her whole life. She chattered the entire walk to the park about school, about her best friend Maya, about how she was learning to read chapter books all by herself. Do you like to read? She asked me. Used to. Don't have much time anymore. That's sad. Mommy says reading takes you places you can't go in real life. She looked up at me very seriously. Where would you go if you could go anywhere? Anywhere but here. That had been my philosophy for years. Keep moving. Keep building. Keep running from everything that might slow me down. I don't know, I said honestly. Where would you go? I'd go to a castle with a dragon, but the dragon would be nice, and we'd be friends, and there'd be a garden with flowers as big as houses, and you and Mommy would be there too. She swung our joined hands. All of us together. That casual mention of her fantasy family, me and Sarah together, felt like a knife, because that wasn't going to happen. Whatever Sarah and I had once been, that was dead. This was about Lily now. We reached the park. Lily pulled me toward the playground, pointing out her favorite spots. That's the twisty slide. It's really fast. And those are the swings, but you have to get here early or they're all taken. And that's the sandbox where Tommy pushed me once, but I pushed him back and he cried. She said that last part with definite satisfaction. You pushed him back? Mommy says, we don't start fights, but we can finish them. Lily climbed onto a swing. Can you push me? Mommy can only come to the park on her days off, and she's usually really tired. I got behind her swing and pushed gently. She squealed with delight. Higher. I pushed harder. She laughed, the sound pure and unselfconscious, and something in my chest cracked open. This was my daughter, my kid. This living, breathing, laughing person existed because of me, and I'd almost missed it entirely. You're quiet, Lily said after a while. Are you sad? A little bit, yeah. Why? How did you explain regret to a 6-year-old? I'm sad because I wasn't here before, for your other birthdays and park days. But you're here now. Yeah, I'm here now. That's what Mommy always says. She says we can't change yesterday, but we can choose what we do right now. Lily dragged her feet to slow the swing. So right now, you're choosing to be here with me. That's good, right? Out of the mouths of children. Yeah, Lily. That's really good. We played for an hour. I pushed her on the swings, helped her across the monkey bars, pretended to be a dragon while she saved the kingdom. Other parents smiled at us, dad and daughter having a Sunday in the park. Normal. Wholesome. If only they knew this was my 7th time meeting my own child. Eventually, Lily got tired and we sat on a bench. She leaned against me like it was the most natural thing in the world. Can I ask you something? She said. Anything. Are you going to stay this time? My throat closed up. What do you mean? Mommy said you had to go away before because of important work. I just want to know if you're going to have to go away again. She looked up at me, those green eyes so much like my mother's. Because it's okay if you do. I just want to know so I don't get surprised. Jesus Christ. This kid was 6 years old and already protecting herself from disappointment. I pulled her closer. Lily, I'm not going anywhere. And I'm sorry, so sorry that I wasn't here before. But I promise you, I'm here now, and I'm not leaving. You promise. I promise. She snuggled into me. Good, because I waited a really long time for you. I had to look away before she saw me crying. Pulled out my phone to check the time and saw 17 missed calls, all from Jennifer, my assistant. Something wrong? Lily asked, noticing my expression. Just work stuff. Nothing important. Mommy says work is important. Your mommy is wrong about that. The words came out before I could think them through. I mean, work is important, but it's not the most important thing. People are the most important thing. You are the most important thing. Lily beamed at me like I'd hung the moon. My phone rang again. This time I answered it, stepping a few feet away. Jennifer, this really isn't a good time. The Tokyo deal is falling apart. They're threatening to walk, unless you get on a call in the next hour. Then let them walk. Silence. I'm sorry. What? I said let them walk. Tell them I'm unavailable. Mr. Kane, this is a $2 billion deal. You've been working on it for 8 months. And I'll work on it tomorrow. Today I'm with my daughter. When did you get a daughter? 6 years ago. I just found out. I looked at Lily, who was gathering dandelions. Jennifer, clear my schedule for the next 2 weeks. 2 weeks? You have the investor meeting, the board review, the conference in Singapore. Cancel all of it. Move what you can. Postpone the rest. I need time. Time for what? To figure out how to be a father. Another silence. Then, softer. Okay, I'll handle it. Thank you. I hung up and went back to Lily, who presented me with a bouquet of dandelions and weeds. These are for you. They're beautiful. They're weeds. But Mommy says weeds are just flowers nobody wanted yet. She put them in my hand carefully. Now you have to make a wish. A wish? Yeah. You blow on them and make a wish, and it comes true. Probably. She looked uncertain about that last part. I wish on them a lot, but most of my wishes don't come true. But maybe yours will because you're a grown-up. I looked at these weeds in my hand and this child staring at me with hope in her eyes. What did you wish for? I asked. I can't tell you or it won't come true. That's the rules. Okay. Then I won't tell you mine either. I closed my eyes and blew on the dandelions, seeds scattering in the wind. I wished that I could be the father she deserved, that I could learn fast enough, that I wouldn't screw this up the way I'd screwed up everything else in my life that mattered. Did you wish? Lily asked. I did. Was it a good wish? The best wish. Then it'll definitely come true. She said it with such certainty, like the universe had no choice but to comply. We walked back to her apartment hand in hand. Sarah was waiting by the window. I saw the curtain move when we turned the corner. I don't want you to go, Lily said as we climbed the stairs. I know, but I'll see you again soon. When? How about Tuesday? After school? Really? Really. I promise. Sarah opened the door before we could knock. Hey, baby. Did you have fun? The best time ever. Daddy pushed me really high on the swings and we played dragons, and he made a wish on dandelions. Lily hugged Sarah. Can he come inside? Not today, sweetie. Daddy has to get going. But, Lily, inside. Something in Sarah's voice made it non-negotiable. Lily looked at me, uncertainty creeping in. Tuesday. Tuesday. I confirmed. I promise. She went inside reluctantly. Sarah stepped into the hallway and closed the door. Thank you, I said, for letting me... She's happy. I haven't seen her this happy in. Sarah trailed off. Just don't disappear on her, Ethan. Please. She'll survive if you're a mediocre father. She won't survive if you're an absent one. I meant what I said about being all in. Words are easy. Show up on Tuesday, and the Tuesday after that, and the one after that. Do that for 6 months, and maybe I'll start to believe you. Fair enough. I hesitated. I set up a trust for her. $2 million. It's hers no matter what, and you can't refuse it because the paperwork's already filed. Sarah's face went carefully blank. I don't want your money. It's not for you. It's for Lily. For college. For whatever she needs. Consider it back pay for the 6 years I wasn't there. You think money makes up for that? No, but it can make her life easier. Let me do this, Sarah. Please. She stared at me for a long moment. Finally, she nodded. Fine, but I'm still paying for everything day to day. That money stays untouched until she's 18 unless there's an emergency. Whatever you think is best. And Ethan, one more thing. Yeah? She asked me last night if you were going to marry me, so we could be a real family. Sarah's voice was tight. I need you to understand right now that's never going to happen. Whatever we had, it's gone. I'm civil with you for Lily's sake, but that's all this is. Co-parenting. Nothing more. It shouldn't have hurt. We'd been over for 7 years. But hearing her say it out loud, so final, felt like a door closing. I understand, I said. I'm not here to complicate your life, Sarah. I'm just here for Lily. Good. Keep it that way. She went back inside, and I heard Lily's voice asking if Daddy was gone. Sarah's response was muffled. I walked back to my car, thinking about how completely my life had changed in less than a week, thinking about Tokyo deals I no longer cared about and board meetings that suddenly felt meaningless, thinking about a 6-year-old girl who'd looked at me like I'd hung the moon just for pushing her on a swing. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. She wants to know if you like pizza. She's already planning what you guys should eat Tuesday. I smiled despite everything and texted back, I love pizza. Tell her she can pick the toppings. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, thank you for today. She needed it. So did I. No response to that. But I hadn't expected one. I drove back to Manhattan, back to my empty penthouse that suddenly felt less like success and more like the loneliest place on earth. Tuesday came, then Thursday, then the weekend, then the next week, and the week after that. I showed up. Every single time. Rain, shine, board crisis, investor emergency. I showed up. At first, Lily was cautious around me, like she was waiting for me to disappear. By the 3rd week, she started to relax. By the 6th week, she was running to me when I arrived. "Daddy's here!" she'd shout, like it was an event worth celebrating. We fell into a routine. Tuesdays and Thursdays after school, I'd pick her up and we'd go to the park or the library or just walk around the neighborhood. Saturdays were our big day, the zoo, museums, wherever she wanted to go. I learned that she hated broccoli but loved Brussels sprouts, that she could recite every dinosaur name but struggled with multiplication, that she was terrified of thunderstorms but loved the rain. I learned what it meant to be a father. Sarah kept her distance, always polite but never warm. She'd hand Lily off like we were strangers exchanging a package. Sometimes I caught her watching us together, her expression unreadable. By week 8, my life had completely reorganized itself around Lily's schedule. Board meetings got moved, conference calls happened after her bedtime. I'd turned down 3 major deals because they would have required